At Wednesday's seminar, you'll recall that we created a class called TimidCritter, but we never had a chance to test it. And so what we're going to do is just refresh our memory about TimidCritter and look at ways we test any of the classes in Grid World. This should really help out with both jumper and veggie critter labs. Okay, so you'll recall we had a timid critter, and a timid critter here was a critter. So it extended a critter, and what makes something a critter is that when it acts, it gets some actors, and it processes those actors, and then it moves. Now our timid critter has its own little private attribute, which is courage factor. And you'll recall our timid critter is scared of being around too many other critters, and when he is, he turns light gray. If there aren't a lot of other critters around, he goes back to his original color. The first thing we need to do is go in here into his constructor, and courage factor equals courage. Original color equals C, so we can turn back to it. And we didn't do this in class, but I discovered when testing it, if we don't set his color right away, he is at the default color. So we want to set his color to this color that was sent here right away. Now, in Get Actors, we went through where we got all of the occupied locations, and we checked which ones were within 2, and we then sent this array list with all the actors within 2. And then we processed those actors, and we basically said, okay, if they're critters, increase our count. And then we said, okay, if that count is greater than or equal to our courage factor, we're going to turn to light gray. Otherwise, send us back to our original color. All right, so there is our timid critter class. And when we go to run it, here's a typical runner class. At the top, I've got a series of import statements because I suspect I'm going to want to, well, I have to have an actor world, and it extends critter, so I have to have that line. Flower, I might want a flower in there, a rock in there, and also a bug. I just threw those in case I want to add those. Location is definitely necessary, as is color, because our critter changes color. All right, so down here we've got public class timid critter runner. We're running it. We've got a main method. We have to create our actor world. And of course, all of these you can see in any previous runner method, either in your grid world packet or online on Moodle. You can download another class's runner class and just adjust it. I create my timid critter. I'm naming him Bob. He's going to have a courage factor of 3. His color is red. I add him to the world in position 6, 5. Last thing I do is show the world. All right, so let's see what we have so far. We should have one timid critter in here. All right, and there he is. And he can step around, and that's looking good. All right, so he's moving around, but there's nothing else going on, so not too exciting. So let's add some other things in here. Let's go in here and add another critter. All right, so we step around and okay, everything's fine and good. His courage factor's 3, so I wasn't expecting anything crazy to happen there. Here's another critter. Let's add 2 critters. And okay, he turned gray. And now I'm a little concerned because I'm looking here and he's near 2 critters. So there's this critter within 2 and this critter within 2, but he's not near 3 of them. And he's gray still, and he's still gray. Now the good news is he does turn back red when he's not near them, but he seems to be turning gray when there's only 2 nearby. So that has me a little worried. Like right here, I have 2 nearby, and he turns gray. All right, so what's going on here? Now what I have to do is figure out how to test this. And so when I go in here, I'm wondering, how am I counting the ones within 2? Maybe I'm counting them wrong. So right here, right before I return the actors within 2, I'm going to just print out for myself. I'll just within 2, and I will print out the size of that array list. So actors within 2 dot size will give the size of the array list. All right, so here we go. We're going to compile that, and let's run this and see what's happening. So when I run it, there we go. I'm just going to step once, and it says, wait, actors within 2 is 1, but I'm the only one in here. And now I'm beginning to think maybe I'm counting myself. I'll add 1 critter, and actors within 2 is now 2. Oops, clear screen at method call. Let's add another critter. And actors within 2 is, wait a second, 3. And so I'm realizing I am counting myself. All right, so there's a good fix for that. Let's go into TimidCritter. We need to make sure we're not adding ourselves. And one way to do that is to just say right in here, we were adding all of these critters, but we should make sure we're not adding ourselves. So we're going to say if, and here we're working with location objects. So we're going to say if that location um, equals, remember these are objects, so we can't use our double equals. If it equals my location, you'll recall up here we got my location equal get location. Um, now, wait a second. I want to do this if it's not equal. So let's just put an exclamation point in there. So if it's not my location, then add them to the actors within 2. All right. So let's try this and see if that's a good fix. So here we go. And step, oh good. There's 0 actors within 2. I can put in a critter here and a critter here. I should not turn gray. Yay. All right, let's throw in a couple other critters. So critter and a critter and another critter. And now my actors within 2 is 3. And now I am turning gray when there's 3 of them nearby. There we go, it happened again. Now sometimes it looks like there should have been 3 of them nearby, but remember, we don't see all of the moves that happen before our TimidCritter counts them. So our TimidCritter counts how many are within 3, and then everyone moves. So it's, but it appears to be working as we like. Oh, oh, there we go, he's feeling a little better. Okay, now let's also we want to test what happens when we have other objects to make sure this is only working with critters. So let's go in here and let's take out that system.out.println because that seems to be working now. I'll compile that again, and I want to put some other objects in there. Now you'll notice, I should go back here, so let's just run our world again. You'll notice that when I right click here I can only add an actor, a critter, or a TimidCritter, and that's because that's all there is in my world right now. Since a TimidCritter is a critter, that option's there, and since a critter is an actor, that option's there. But if I want to add flowers or bugs or those other things, I need to have put at least one in the world. So if I do world.add new location 6 4, I could put in a new bug. World.add new location, let's go with 6 6, I can put in a new flower. And world.add new location, and I can go with let's go with 5 5, and that could be a rock. And if I hit compile then, and I run TimidCritter, here we go. All right, he's surrounded by a bunch of things. Now, none of these are critters, so I should be fine and just stay red, and he's just going to move around like he normally does. All right, notice this critter isn't eating any other critters because he doesn't process actors to eat them. He's just afraid of other critters. I guess he's going hungry. All right, now we can always add other critters, so we can add some other critters. If I add a basic critter, it's going to work like a normal critter does, and I think some of these flowers are going to start disappearing. So I've just added 3. We are expecting our TimidCritter right here to turn gray. Well, maybe not. There we go. Hmm. Let's see. And it might be the order in which it's counting them. These critters may have moved. Oh, that's right. It goes in row order first. Let's just take a look at. I'm going to remove these guys. Remove self from grid. Remove self from grid. If I add my critters down here, I'm pretty sure he'll turn gray. So this is worth understanding. There we go. All right. But if I have, and he should turn gray here because all of these, what it does is it looks at all the actors and it goes by row and then column. So my TimidCritter is going to move before these critters move because they're in further columns and below. So he's going to turn gray that time. But if his critters are above him, so let's put a critter up here and a critter up here, these two move before he decides if there's a lot around. And there we go. So it really has to do with the order in which they're in. And of course, and sometimes other critters are moving in there. I've got a lot of critters going on in here, so it's a little hard to test. It's always worth testing with just a few things. Now let's just try. Let's start over with less things in here. So here we go. And let's throw in some other timid critters and see what happens. So we can put in other timid critters, and let's have a pink one, and he just needs two around. And let's put in one more timid critter, and he's going to be yellow, but he's never going to change color. I'm going to make his courage factor 5. So we should see that the red one does not change color, and the yellow one does not change color, but the pink one does. And there we go. All right, and the pink one turns back. And now let's test out what I was saying before. If I put all of my critters, even timid critters, so let's just put some, these should all be turning. So we'll add another timid critter. These are all, they're triplets. They all have the same courage factor and the same color. So here we go. All right, so let's see. I would expect all three of these green ones to turn gray. I would also expect the red one to turn gray because its courage factor was 3. So here we go. Yay, there we go. And there's too many. So notice that the timid critters also turns gray when it's in the presence of other timid critters because those are critters. That was my big point here. All right. I think that's all for now. Hopefully this helped you see how you would go about testing. Oh, I forgot one other thing was now that I added flowers and rocks, if I want to put rocks in other spots, that's an option. If I want to put a flower in another spot, that's an option. If I want to add another bug in here, that's an option. So once I've got one of those in the world, it's easy to add others. But if my runner code does not have any bugs, flowers, or rocks, then I won't have that right-click menu to do so.